In today's video, I'm going to talk about creative strategy. Creative strategy is one of the most important things, as you probably know if you clicked your video. Smart decision, because typically it's the thing that stops brands from scaling past $10,000 a day in sales, at least from what I've seen, working with over 100 brands. Before we get further into the video, just to show you some proof, this is just one of our own clients in June 7th, I should say. They just did $30,000 in sales. Let me just refresh so you know this is real. Okay, now that we got the proof out of the way, let's just continue with the video to show you some frameworks. Great, so I should say, let me just start talking about what are the major things. I'm going to do, just to set the agenda for today's video, I'm going to talk about what mostly brands that do $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 per day in sales do. What are the things they do and they focus on, and then I'm going to bring you through step by step exactly what 8-figure brands do. And so you can basically see the difference one versus the other, and you can compare and perhaps hopefully resonate with what I'm saying, okay? So number one, I should say, they start from the product, not the customer in mind. I am not sure why. I know it's just because you only know what you know and you don't know what you don't know. That's the reality. And so everybody just starts, those people that promote tools about finding winning products. Those are the people that typically don't understand marketing and don't have brands doing 30, 40 grand a day. It's not really too much about the product. It's about understanding the customer and his desires. And so their marketing is product centered. It's not customer centered. Okay, that's how I would say. Next is they sell products, not solutions. In many cases, I'm noticing these brands that do 7 figures, that they just sell one solution. Instead of just selling, of course, if you're selling a wallet, it's maybe a different story. But if you're selling a product that has a specific solution that is selling pain, or it's increasing your perceived value as a man, whatever that is, it's typically very, very common that these brands just sell 8-figure brands. They sell complete solutions instead of just selling one product, because at the end of the day, we're trying to solve a problem as much as possible. Let me just stop my notifications here. One second. Anyways, next thing is they don't explore new marketing angles. I just since I have my wallet here on my right, you can sell this wallet in many different ways. It's slim, so it's comfortable. It has a tech advancement that if you lose it, you can actually just spot it with your iPhone, right? There's so many, you can fit unlimited cards, and it's slim, right? You can sell this in so many different ways. And typically 7-figure brands, they just stop at one avatar customer, and they don't scale and explore opportunities. And typically that is called scaling horizontally, and they just don't do it. Next thing is that they don't expand creative concepts. So even if they find an angle that works, they don't test different creative concepts. What is a creative concept? It's basically an AI voiceover. That's one creative concept. Us versus then image, that is another creative concept. What else? Doing a video that is a raw UGC video with a unscripted video, or a whitelisting ad. These are all different types of creative concepts. 7-figure brands just don't do them. They don't focus on them. Next is that they don't track and understand why winners are winners and losers are losers. They just don't. They just hope something sticks on the wall, and for some reason that's fine with them. And believe it or not, if you copy and paste stuff and you hope that something sticks, and so you copy your best competitor, hoping that the creative is going to work for you, in most cases it won't, but in some cases it will. So maybe that is enough to get you to $5,000 a day in sales. You're just ripping creatives off, but you don't really understand the motivations behind why things work and why things don't work. And next thing, last but not least, I try to condense all of this in just 5 or 6 steps. But next is that their sales process is not congruent to their avatar customer. It doesn't resonate with them. So there's also not congruency between and the ad and the advertorial and the offer. So basically they're trying to sell as much as possible and touch maybe base on 7 different points, while people maybe just care about one specific point, or at least that specific avatar customer cares only about back pain instead of also just joint pain or ankle pain or whatever. And so I just see this very, very often. Now let's go over, these are just from a creative strategy standpoint. So let me just go over what 8-figure businesses do, okay? As I say here, now let's go over exactly how multi-8-figure brands do their creative strategy. So this is, by the way, this is all documented based on my experience. I'm not this crazy guru on YouTube trying to share brands and be cool about it. I'm just sharing what has worked for us and our clients, and the least that I can do is share it on my YouTube channel. So don't hate on me. Anyways, here the first thing is that they nail down their customer avatar and know everything about them. Okay, I'm going to go over on this section in specific. I'm going to do 2 things. Number one is go over the process from A to Z of how they do it, and then I'm going to show you a real-time example of how we do the creative strategy approach to really understand our customer. It's really interesting. There's also a new method, so stick until then at least, okay? Number one, the top priority is the client, is the customer. So they pinpoint the customer. Next thing is they do deep research. I'm going to show you all this in just a second. But they do deep research, and they use ChatGPT 03. That is what we use, not 4.0. A big difference between 03 and 4.0. I'm going to show you in just a second once again. What is the major difference? Big difference. Then they use TikTok, Amazon, Reddit to scrape and research. These are just, I was limited to these, but there's basically also other things that we do that work very well, which is like look at government statistics articles and look at like statistical data with, organizations that are, backed by whatever. And so like they're important, they're reliable. We basically do a lot of research, so we know everything about them. And then we study their positives, their negatives about the customer, their buying triggers, their skepticism, their frustrations, their tonality, their motivations, their pain points, basically everything, so that we know them like they are our brother and our sister. Once again, we study their language discovery, their situational context, what is happening in their life, right? How does your ideal avatar customer talk? All these things. Who do they want to become? Their aspiration, right? Emotional motivation, like how do they want to feel? Actually genuinely feel once they solve the problem. And then what do they say about what they want, which is different, right? You may think you need something, and then you can say something else about what you need, and they're two different things, what you think and what you say, or what you actually need and what you say. I should say that was a better way to frame it. Next thing is that we then, after we understand all these things, then we understand and build marketing angles, offers, desires. Like, so this is the process. Every 7-figure business I know starts from like the winning product that they feel like they find, and then in some cases they gradually reverse engineer what the offer should be and then what the customer should be. It's like there's no such thing as winning product. If you take a look behind me, there's probably like 50 winning products, if not all of these are winning products, because they're in my house, right? And so like it's not about the product, it's about marketing, and it's not even about product market fit too much, it's about angle market fit, and then after that product market fit. Anyways, now that you know your customer within this process that I just explained, and understand their needs, you know how they think, you know what they want, you're clear about exactly what they want, and now you can talk about marketing decisions, where you basically create an entire ad, which looks something like this, with the hook, the pain point, the blah blah blah, the whatever, the introduction to the solution, the credibility within the ingredients, the lifestyle, the proofs, the CTA. You basically create all of this within one avatar in mind. And so within the hook, you have their desires. Within the pain point section, of course, you bring up their pain points, which you discovered because you did a lot of research, right? Smart person. And then you put their motivations in here and their skepticism. You get the point. You know so much about them that they are basically resonating with your ad on a much deeper level. And it's just way easier to convert people like that instead of just doing something random out of the spot. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. Let me just go over a direct example of this, which is super powerful. What I like to use is a tool called ChatGPT. Hopefully you know it. And it's essentially what we do, as you can see over here, is that we use an O3 model. So this is what it looks like. I'm not sure why it's not showing. Yeah, O3. So basically, there's different models that you can use. There's 4O, which is great for most tasks. And this is like, it uses like simple vocabulary for you to understand. The O3 uses advanced reasoning, and it actually gives you, it takes like 1 minute to create an answer, just because it's diving the web and really giving you scientific data, like based on articles, like even like 4O, but like here there's like way more reasoning and thought put into it. And so even just as an example, I asked O3 to do like an investment strategy for my portfolio, and the 4O version was good, but the O3 was like mind-breaking, mind-blowing, I should say. And then there's others that we don't really use too much. These are the two that we use. So for research, use O3. I can at least test it. And this is just an example of something that I did and how we approach kind of like diving into the creative strategy part of understanding the customer, so that we can come up with like so many like golden ideas to really scale, right? I wrote this prompt. I'm selling healing strips. Basically, you know those strips that you put on your back, you can put them on your toes. It's a pretty saturated product. And so I'm selling healing strips for back pain, foot pain, neck pain. I want to find new avatars and angles that are less saturated so I can take over the market, right? Please do deep research and come up with very specific, unique avatar customers and angles, instead of just selling to 50-year-old Bob that has back pain, okay? Which is what most people do. They sell to 50-year-old Bob that has back pain, and then they ask themselves, why is my CPM $95? It's because you're targeting a segment that is so saturated. So the least thing that you can do to at least lower your CPM and actually give yourself a shot in the first place to scale is really target a specific persona. And so I asked it, how can I be specific? And so it gave me, hey, below are 8 underserved but fast growing micro markets you can own, okay? And as you can see from here, everything is backed by research. So you can actually see all of these primary sources and read through them, and your team can do the same. And so it talked about the Zoom slump analyst, a 40-year-old Zoom guy that has back pain. This could be an avatar. The tech neck TikTokers the ones that spend a lot of time on TikTok. I didn't really resonate with too much of these, but I did find, this is, by the way, just doing it in like 5 minutes. My research team spends weeks and weeks and like never stopping this on a weekly basis to really find new things. But I resonated with like new moms carriers from like 0 to 6 months. I would also say 0 to like 1 or 2 years old, where they can't even walk and they need to still bring the children. Probably it gets worse as they grow up because they're heavier, right? And so it came up. I did some research. I navigated through some things, but I resonated with angle number 4. And then what I asked it to do is that let's expand on number 4, the new moms. Please, this is important, please come up with more unique angles with this specific persona. What are the things moms have tried, failed solutions? Who do they aspire to be? What is their language? What are their motivations, as I say over here, right? Who do they want to feel? What is their overall objective, right? I want to enter their mind, enter the mind of the customer. Please also generate links so I can see where you are getting your information. And this is important, and I'll tell you why in just a second. It took 1 minute, 11 seconds to generate, way slower than the 4.0 version, but because it's taking more time for the research, okay? So instead of, where is it here? Quick bio snapshot. So the stage is 0 to 6 months postpartum. Physical reality is 82% report back pain while baby wearing, 80% in a separate US survey. So all of these can be like hooks that you can entertain, or just your own knowledge. And so you can actually go and research more about this. Top daily jobs to be done. They keep baby close for bonding and hands-free multitasking. 97% say this is why the baby wear, okay? And so breastfeeding on demand without drug worries, etc. Then hidden friction is that my back is killing me. Forum laments a bond. Basically, you can read these and see what the heck is going on in their mind. And so you can basically read through all these comments and just get even more insight. And you know how like gurus and people say you should do Reddit, and I agree with them, like whatever, it's really valuable, but this thing does the Reddit for you. Like this O3, there's really good research on Reddit for you, and then you can feed this to like your team, and then they can do even further research. Anyway, not to make this too long, but this is really important. Then we have what she's already tried and what it flopped. In this case, like the meds, the prescriptions, heating pads, basically everything like that. And then identity aspirations. I'm not just going to scroll through this. You can stop if you want to. But one thing that I really liked over here, if I can find it, is that it really resonated with the one point. And then I found even more points later. For example, I found a terminology here called pink something. Pink. Yeah, basically here in the like identity and aspiration, who she wants to be, right? It says cool, calm, carrier mom, seen on Instagram Reels, part of the get your pink back trend. What is that? Like, what is get your, I don't know what the heck that means, but it's basically a viral trend. So I clicked on this and it brought me to this article, right? That looks something like this. And then I was like, okay, let me just type in pink just to see where this pink comes from. And then we can see, what does it mean to get your pink back? Right? And then basically it's like a status and an aspiration. So this could be a hook or something really resonate with, because it's something that is going viral, right? On parents.com, like super viral. So the phrase get your pink back refers to the process of flamingos undergo, the process that flamingos undergo when raising their chicks. Both male and female flamingos can actually lose their pink coloring while raising their young. Because so much of their food and energy goes to their chicks. Okay, so this makes perfect sense. Apparently this is like a viral thing, that it went viral. I don't know where I read it, but it went viral somewhere here. You see, like there's look how many shares, right? So like 6,000 shares, if that was even, I don't know. Oh, this is just a cleaning ad. Anyways, I saw that it went viral, and this is also what it's saying. So maybe this could be an angle to test, right? So anyways, the reason why I'm showing you this is because all of this ChatGPT 03 is just super in depth with research. Once again, then it gives you angle ideas. You get the point. So I'm going to stop ranting about this just to move on, but you get the point, hopefully. Then you can do your ads in a much better way. Let's talk about clear systems, which is another thing 8-figure brands do. Clear system for the creative team. Once we have all this information, like how do we actually transfer it over to the team? The way that we do it, at least, and I know the way that other 8 and 9-figure brands do, is that they put everything into something called a holy creative document. At least that's how I like to call it. And it's basically all customer profile information, motivations, buying triggers, marketing angles, desires, creative concepts that are working well in the industry, and a lot more. And so all of this document is basically a brand document, I should say like a creative strategy brand doc, just for your brand, which feeds the creative strategist and the head of performance, which are the people that should be in charge of actually knowing all of these things, so that they can come up with ideas and that are very creative and very specific. Like, who would have thought, talking about the pink movement or whatever that was called that I saw on TikTok with ChatGPT 03. So like, So you only get with that with research, okay? And typically what happens is that if you are the first comer to find these trends and these things that work, angles that work, you will get the majority of the market, and then the 7-figure brands will follow you because they see that it's working for you, and then they're going to try to steal your customers. They do steal some of your customers, but you're getting the majority. So that's why you have to do your work. So all of this goes to your team, the copywriters, the graphic designers, the editors, you get the point. And then what happens is that you start the team, since you're giving them all these resources, they start building congruent and relevant ads and sales processes that deeply resonate with the specific avatar customer. Okay, and guess what? If you want to make more money, generate more avatar customers. Okay, maybe you can now target somebody that has back pain because they're doing construction. That is a huge one. Targeting construction workers because of their back pain. And you can do the same thing with people that stand for 12 hours, being hospital people, nurses. There's like 7 million nurses in between I think Europe and the US, right? There are 10 million nurses between Europe and US, so huge market. You can conquer that market by being specific with this marketing angle. You get the point. What ends up happening is that you end up going from maybe a 1, 2, or 3% hit rate, meaning that out of 100 ads, 3 are winners, to doing a lot more intent-based marketing because you really know what's happening with your customers, right? And so you go from a 3% to a 13% hit rate, which is very scalable. Hit rate is high, motivated team, it's efficient, scalable process, less time to find winners. And here you basically waste your time, waste your resources, burn out the team. It's frustrating, it's not scalable. Would be scaling essentially a broken engine. If you want to like scale creatives, you can't really scale this because you're scaling something that is not proven to have a good hit rate, which means you're just wasting your time and resources. So how do we actually track hit rate? We have a sheet called Command Center. You can actually get it. There's a link below. It's completely free. It's I think the third link in the description. And the way that we do it is that we track every single test that we put onto the ad account. Very simple. And we track everything of it. So the marketing angle we use for the creative concept, the main emotion, the avatar, the hook, the messaging, the copy, the creative, so much and so much more. This is actually a demo. In some cases, I think we even add more columns, and then we track results, whether it's a break even, a winner, a loser, to be determined. That's how we track the win rate. And then how much it's spent. These are all like demo random numbers, so you have to put in your own numbers. And then we track things like hook rate, engagement rate, CPMs, hold rate, and stuff like that. So, and then the most important thing here is 2 things: understanding what your ratio is of winning ads, so your winning rate. In this case, this is actually from a real client. We got like a 12% win rate, which is very healthy. 1 in 6, 7 ads is basically a winner, which is very, very good. And then the other thing that is important is that we have notes and learnings. And so we can say, hey, the AOV is I'm not sure if this is relevant, but I just copied and pasted some stuff here. But essentially the winning angle is XYZ, and I think the ad worked because of XYZ. The hook rate was also amazing, and so we should use it again. And then we can propose next steps, right? Nothing is like random, it's all standardized. So hopefully you get the point. There's a link down below. Once again, you can get the sheet. By the way, it has so many other things like UGC tracker, CRO tracker. Just explore it. Next thing over here is scientifically, if I can spell, a scientific way of testing new ads plus analyzing failed ads. Guess what? Most of your ads are going to fail. Like 80-90% of your ads, once you get to a certain level, are going to fail. Even 8-figure brands, 9-figure brands, 80%, 90% failed. So you would be doing a disservice to yourself if you didn't spend time analyzing the ads that didn't work because it took you so much time. So the least thing that you can do, and this is how we do it at least, or other brands do it as well, is that we study the failed ads, the ones with the X, and we compare them with winning ads that we know. How do we do it? First of all, we study the winning ads. We basically break down exactly, we have documents for it. I'm not going to go over it in this video. You can maybe take a look at the last video I published. I talk about it briefly, but we basically create documents to explain ourselves and study to the team, right? Why is this ad working? What is the exact sequence of the ad? Why did the ad work? What is the hook? What is the body of the video? And what makes this video work? Understanding that. You can put all that into a document. We just do it here. Let me just show you very quickly. We just do like ad breakdown of winning ads, and we put the ad framework, right? We analyze that. We analyze the buying triggers of the ad, and then we also basically split the entire ad scene by scene. What happened from second 2 to 5? What happened from second 5 to 10, etc., etc. You get the point. either way, what I wanted to say here is that once we understand what makes or breaks a winning ad, then we can come up with strategic A/B tests, because now we can basically compare winning ads with failed ads. And once we know that we receive a failed ad and we analyze it, it has a 1 ROAS, it's a failed ad, then we can basically compare it with all the winning ads that we have. What traits does the failed ad have in common with the winning ad? And in many cases, there aren't many traits that there's in common. So as an example, I'll give you a perfect example. You study the winning ad, and this is the structure of it. A specific A/B test that is scientific and based on data and not just random, which is how 7-figure brands do it, is something like this. We noticed the winning ad had a hook rate above 50%, which is very good. The hook was with the doctor showing up, meaning that it was a doctor ad. Let's try to emulate the same concept in a different way. So one thing that you can do is that this is something that you can test as a difference within your winning ad. So this is a strategically placed and a strategic decision on how you should do your test. Another example, so you get the point. We noticed in the previous failed ads that the hold rate of the ad is not great, below 20%, not great. The winning ad had a hold rate of 40%, right, which is good. And they introduced the product with a customer story. Let's try to recreate that concept, but with a different creator, okay, or the same creator. And so that's where it gets a bit more interesting with like hold rate, because this is the hook, 5 seconds, right? The hold rate is anything after 15 seconds, which is the entirety of the video. So this is where you have to be a bit more patient, but the most important thing is that you test one thing and you change maybe 10 seconds of the video, because in this case, we're talking about introducing the product, but because there's reasoning behind it. How do we know this reasoning? Well, not to bore you off too much, we know it because we're tracking it over here in the learnings, and we're keeping track of everything that works and doesn't work, and also in documents like this, okay? So hopefully you get that part of the story. Next thing is scaling marketing angles and personas. 8-figure brands are like so smart, and this is something we do often, of understanding that there isn't one way to sell a product. Just imagine, if you're selling this wallet, and you have one persona, and it's working and it's scaling, and then your competitor has a very similar wallet, but they have like 7 personas, and they're selling with like 12 different marketing angles. Maybe not all of them are like $1 million marketing angles, right? Or like 200K a month marketing angles, whatever you want it to be. But they're like, one is 100K, and then another one is like 200K, and then another one is like 300K. And guess what? It stacks up at the end of the day. Am I saying that in order to scale to $1 million a month, you absolutely need like 50 marketing angles? No, but it's way easier to do that if you propose something like this. Let's just take as an example a facial sculptor for like typically to make your face sculpted for beauty, right? So these are just some ideas. You can target the woman that is trying to get rid of her double chin, so you can use the sculptor for your chin. You can use it as a natural remedy for instead of doing Botox. You can use it for people that have turkey neck, which is different than double chin. You don't want saggy lines here as you age. You want to like you don't want turkey neck. Reduce fine lines, this is a bit more general. Gift for your girlfriend, maybe this is not the best one. Probably wouldn't scale. Which one is a good one? Reverse aging, snatched jawline. The ones that I like the most, probably that I think would work well, is like how to get a snatched jawline or turkey neck and like double chin. I think these is something that would work well. Another one that could work well is like an instant lift before you go out during the night. So 5 minutes before you go out, do this for like 5 minutes, and you'll get an instant snatched jawline and lift, right? For your eyebrows, for your cheekbones, whatever the girls want. So you see how these are completely different personas. This is like a 20-year-old, by the way. These are like 40, 50, 60-year-olds, but they're different people, right? Maybe you find, or this could also be like a 30-year-old, I guess, if you have a double chin, right? You get the point. This is super, super important. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, and by the way, before I move on, how do I find this, right? I basically showed you the entire process over here. Like if you're smart with your research, right? Here are just like 8 different avatars that you can target. The one that I liked here is like new moms and also like Zoom slump analysts, right? The ones that just work all day and they have like back pain. Oh my God, I have back pain right now. Maybe I should get strips. But you get the point. Like you can get so creative. And some people think that you like need to completely change the product. No, but you need to do something else. And this is what I like to do, which is to create a congruent sales process. Or sorry, this is something else. I'll talk about this later. A congruent sales process. So what does that mean? Is that your offer needs to make sense with the marketing. The marketing on the front end needs to make sense with the advertorial. The advertorial then needs to make sense with the offer, so on and so forth. If you're selling to back pain, you better don't have, If you're selling like a back pain to like coders or people that just do 9 to 5s, your offer just really better resonate with that angle, even the way that you name your solution or product. So that's what I'm referring to. Moving on, which is what I want to talk over here, is scaling with creative concepts. So there isn't one way to scale. You can't just, like, you can do like VSL ads and they work and you're scaling them, great. But if you want to get to the next level, you should also start thinking about scaling different types of creative concepts. What is a creative concept? A creative concept is basically these, like a funny AI song, that is a concept, right? A pain-driven B-roll with a dramatic song, that is another concept. A B-roll plus an AI voiceover, which is educational. A features and benefit image, right? These are all random. Or a split screen with a satisfying video, right? All of these are like different concepts. And guess what? Once you find the framework of why things work and you understand why they work, then you can keep that, but just change the creative concept. Meaning you keep the foundational thing that makes the ad work, but you just test it with different creative concepts. So you're scaling horizontally, okay? And then guess what? If you want to go even more in depth, is that within each creative concept, assuming it's a video, you can just change the hook, right? And iterate, and that's how you can also scale quite aggressively. The way that I like to talk about creative concepts is very unique. Once you have a product, let me just explain it like this. Let's just say you have product one. You are good at finding different angles and different personas, and that is great. And so instead of having one marketing angle, you go from like maybe 200-300K a month, and now you get to $1 million a month. But it's probably because you have multiple angles in some cases, in most cases, I would say. And to get to that extra level where you, instead of having the angle basically just reach a ceiling, you can scale even further if you essentially test more creative concepts. And so you can essentially unlock this extra gray revenue, which is like an extra bucket of cash flow per angle, by unlocking and testing different creative concepts. So this extra revenue would have never been here if I didn't test maybe this creative concept number one. And you get the point. Same thing with here. I would have never got an extra gray box, whatever this is, maybe an extra 100K, an extra 50K, whatever the number is, if I never tested creative concept number three. So you're basically extending the ceiling. So if the ceiling of the angle for you and your market and your vertical is 300K, or let's just say 500K, maybe you can make it 600K just with that angle by testing your creative concepts. You get the point. You actually have a sheet, which is the same one that I showed you, which has a bunch of creative concepts over here, like I think like 30 or 40, with like inspo links. So if you want, once again, we have ASMR demos, AI songs, review videos, unboxing videos, reaction videos, all things that you can take inspiration from to scale further. We do this very, very aggressively. So we have it here. This sheet actually also have like 600 different hooks. It's insane. There's a lot of stuff here, but you can get it if you want. It's in the link. And next thing is sales process congruency. I already spoke about this, but essentially I'll just give you through 3 examples so you understand what I mean. A perfect example of a congruent sales process is talking about the strips, right? A raw UGC mom telling her story about how she went from a 9 out of 10 pain to a 3 out of 10 pain. And so she explains it in the ad. And then you have a congruent sales process going to a storytelling advertorial, where it's like how new mom Sally went from a 9 out of 10 back pain to a 3 out of 10 back pain in just 4 weeks. And then you have a direct offer. So this is a congruent sales process. People are not getting lost in the weeds as they go through things. And about congruency is that they're talking about one specific thing. They're not talking about neck pain and then joint pain, and then they're talking about back pain, and that is what they care about the most. If you want to also target somebody that has neck pain, right? Assuming you can use these strips in multiple different ways, then guess what? You create a whole other funnel or sales process or advertorial for that specific persona. So you're not leaving money on the table. It's just a bit more work, but it works. Next example is a Dr. VSL ad explaining common treatments, right, of how to explain on how to treat back pain, all right? And one of these solutions, which is a natural remedy, which is interesting if it comes from a doctor, right? The doctor would prescribe you something, but in this case, it's talking about a natural remedy, okay, which is a good angle. And then it goes to a doctor advertorial, was like, doctor from Harvard reveals 7 reasons moms are raving about these special back strips, completely eliminating postpartum back pain, right? I just wrote this in 2 seconds, but you get the point, within just 4 weeks. And then there's a direct offer, you get the point. And maybe it also says like approved by chiropractors, I don't know. Next thing is just last example, so you get the point. Mom, UGC ad with like a B-roll plus voiceover going over her story, like her healing story of how she got rid of her back pain. And then there's maybe it goes to a quiz funnel where it's like, as I say here, a personalized funnel for moms going over their common problems, offering and timeline for a solution, and presenting a personalized offer to their specific problem, back pain. And guess what? If you have a funnel and like 3 different pain points, you can actually structure something a bit different. Let me just see if I can find it, because this was very, very interesting. Let me just type it in here, quiz, and I should be able to find it here. But yeah, there's basically quiz funnel, or no, just give me 1 second. Quiz, I think it's this one. Yeah, so basically you can do something like this, where you have one avatar customer, you start the quiz, and then you can redirect people to like back pain, joint pain, or neck pain based on what they say. So instead of having 3 landing pages, you can just do a quiz funnel, and then based on the answers they give you, you can redirect them to the back pain PDP with the product one with like back pain naming, right? And then like if they choose joint pain PDP product page, or landing page, whatever you're using. Also could be advertorial, whatever you want. That redirects them to then a product one with a joint pain naming. What do I mean by joint pain naming? I mean something like this, where essentially you go in here and you see, let me just type in Derma, they're doing it quite well, where in this case they're basically a company selling the sculptor, but the facial sculptor, but they're using it with the arm, right? So this is a marketing play that I really like. And so if you take a look at their funnel, they're trying to fix flappy arms over here, as you can see this image, right? And so they changed the name of their product to match what they're selling on the front. And so as you can see, like arm lifting device. They also have another page where it's like jaw lifting device or something else, whatever their angles are. And so this is working super well for them. They're doing quite well. Anyways, that is it for this video. I know that, you know, this is a super raw video. I don't really do editings. I just try to provide value, and hopefully it resonates with you. If it does, book in a call. I mean, we can have a call and we can explore the opportunity of working with my company. We only work with like 10 to 12 clients, so I'm not sure if we do have capacity at the moment. We can either way. I like to take conversations. You never know, and we're always open to exploring opportunities. So if it makes sense and we can help and we can partner up, then that's what we're going to do. Either way, it's going to be a valuable call because we can review your business. So book a call, and then don't remember to download the command center because it's super valuable, and that is the same exact sheet that we use to scale our clients and track win rate and all that stuff. So get it. I'll see you on the call, hopefully, and then I'll see you in the next video. Bye. With no fluff, let's get right into it. I'm going to talk about different strategies, okay? 3 primary strategies that we use. One by one, I'll explain, bring you through examples, show you a quick demo so you know all the tools that you should be using right now to generate creatives at mass scale once you're ready to, of course, scale your creative engine, right? Now, number 1, AI leverage number 1. Google VEO, call it whatever you want. 3, for B-roll generation. What we're going to do with this tool, I'm going to bring you through exactly what it is, how it works. I have a demo for you. What this tool does is absolutely insane. This is something brands, as I see here, are getting into right now, but definitely the most emerging strategy in 2025. And it's actually absolutely insane. You can generate any type of B-roll possible, but it's not like Sora, like we've seen with ChatGPT. I think Sora is not there yet. It's not very good. So what I'm going to do is talk about the old way of doing B-roll and generating B-roll, and then talk about the new way. So stick until with me because I'm going to show you exactly like a demo, live demo with you.